Hello, everyone. This is me, Captain Blueberry Buckaroo, aka Lancer737, and today I'm going to be visiting People's Equesters and talking about a specific lore topic about alicorns. But before we continue, let's take a look at my friend's my friend code. Don't forget to add me. It's in the top left-hand corner. And here we go. Let's visit some neighbors. This is Carrying Daisy. Don't forget to add them. The friend code is right next to their name. And now we're going to go visit them. I had a request from one of my viewers to go visit them, and unfortunately, I have tried to look them up on my friends list. Either our friend codes are not the same, and so they're added to someone else that has a similar name to me, or my friends list is incredibly unstable, which it is, and it does not show them on my friends list at all. So I'm very sorry about that. At least not today, I cannot visit your place if ever. It's all up to what I said before. If my friend code if you friended someone else that's on a different server that has the same friend code as me and name, or if it's just we are friends, but it's so glitchy I can't see you. Anyway, that's kind of cool. They've built some interesting things all over the place. I like this miniature forest that they got going on right here. That miniature forest could possibly be my favorite spot already. I'm just a forest kind of person. Now, I want to say they have not beaten Nightmare Moon yet. But at the same time, there's been a couple places where it I could not find the original Canterlot Castle, and I did see Celestia though, so not all things are as they seem. Oh, great. We have Evil Rainbow Dash with Rainbow Dash. We are doomed. Just about every situation we're doomed in. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. We're going to have two competing rainbow booms going on. One that is a positive one and a negative one, and then it'll cause ultimate rainbow annihilation for us all. Happiest tree ever. Um, yeah, I think that forest was my favorite spot. Not that I hate this town. It's a nice town. But anyway, we got to go visit some other people. Caring Daisy did a nice job. Peace be with you. Happy New Year's and have a happy early St. Valentine's Day. Next, we have Chocolate Pants. Chocolate Pants' friend code is right next to their name, so don't forget to add them. And here we go. Here you go, Chocolate Pants. And their place is very chaotic, but it's still cool. They have activated both totems, but I don't see the castle from Canterlot, so good luck to you if you're still fighting Nightmare Moon. I kind of like what you've done here, Miss Mare. No, that's not Mare Duell. I think I accidentally called her that one time. I think I want to call her Miss Marvelous. Marvelous. Oh well, she's a hybrid spoof of Miss Marvel and Wonder Woman, while Applejack is dressed as her. So, but anyway, I just like it being on the outskirts of town, and I love the castle and how it's really close to the hospital. It has a nice, charming look to it. Probably would make the people at the hospital feel safer knowing that they have a really powerful magic user there, and that if medical science can't help, medical can. Anyway, Chocolate Pants, peace be with you. Have a very happy New Year and happy early Valentine's Day. Next is Lucky Pie. And here we go. Oh, and since their friend codes are on here, we're going to be visiting Little Cake. And don't forget to add them their friend codes next to their name, as is Golden Pie and Jet Music. Here we go. Took it a second there. Here we go. This place looks incredibly nicely organized. I don't know, that looks very nice what you've done with Rarity's place. Very nice. I wonder if the other elements have that kind of touch also. Not really, believe it or not. I was expecting something, but This looks really nice. This might be my favorite section. What's on the screen? I love how nice and cozy it is. Having those two buildings together makes it look really cool too. The hotel and the hospital. The double H. Fluttershy is excited about something. She's dancing in a circle. And Starlight Glimmer has come to investigate to see what is going on. And obviously, Daring Do is waiting for Rainbow Dash, but she's not aware that she's not home anymore. Don't ask me, I have no idea where she is. But this place looks very, very nice. And yeah, I do believe what I picked out already is my favorite spot. Wait, if Starlight Glimmer is right there, then who the heck was I just looking at? Or did she run really quickly down this way? Maybe she did. I just didn't notice it. Anyway, Lucky Pie, have a happy new year and a happy early St. Valentine's Day. Next is Little Cake. Let's see what Little Cake has done. Here you go, Little Cake. It's another very condensed one. They definitely haven't beaten Nightmare Moon. And good luck to you doing that. It's incredibly condensed. But if I were to pick a favorite spot, it is going to be centered around that hotel. I just really like the design of that hotel. And I like that they put all the gigantic tree based buildings next to it. It looks very cool. I like it. Oh, they have a lot of totems that have not been activated. Some they haven't even been able to get to at all. Well, anyway, Little Cake, have a happy new year and a very happy St. Valentine's Day. And at that, I think I'm going to stop here because this is going to be a little bit longer than normal. And I'm going to be presenting some lore from other things to give a comparison, add more to the perspective of things. It's time for a pony theory, or more or less, we're going to go over some lore and try to connect the dots involving things involving alicorns. See, one of the viewers that made a comment about this, they feel like that their most favorite mystery that's left open ended involves Princess Luna and Celestia, and technically Alicorns. And I have to agree that is an important one, especially for me, because I feel like it ties into my own theory about the gigantic war involving Alicorns branching into different types of magic, leaving a bunch of them open to being corrupted and or even taken over by dark magics in the shadows. Unfortunately, that would mean that the Alicorns in this universe are responsible for the darker things. And it's unfortunate. There's a parallel in another series to this, Warhammer 40k. It's not my favorite series anymore, but there is a species called the Eldar, and it's kind of ironic because whenever I think of Alicorns, I either think of the Dunedain Northern Rangers or the Eldar, and sometimes High Elves. See, they were the very first of their kind, technically, on the Earth that was mortal. Super long living mortals, but mortal nonetheless. And they had developed magics and sciences and things like that well before other species. But we're going to talk about the 40k version. And in their case, branching off into different many different fields, and unfortunately in exploring those fields of emotions and warp powers, think of it as magic. It's not quite magic, but think of it as magic. They accidentally unlocked what would be the evil aspects of the warp, and it nearly completely destroyed their species. And I have a feeling that it is very similar here in the situation involving alicorns, why they're so rare, to the point that people instantly consider them to be royalty and or incredibly important figures of stature. Um, there are very few alicorns left in the series. The most commonly known ones are Princess Luna and Celestia. Now, the story behind them, and this ties in with the the lore for alicorns. I mean, it comes naturally that it should, but all that they remember from their childhood was they were, for a time, taught by other alicorns how to use magic, but they fled off and took care of themselves for reasons unknown. And I think it was around that time. This is conjecture, and I think that this is around that time when the darkness and the wars set in between different ideologies. And you could another parallel to this would be the Jedi and the Sith from Star Wars, where the elements involving all the darker magics and evil magics were taking hold on alicorns as they developed them further and further. This caused rifts within their cultures. There may have been multiple kingdoms, maybe one overlord kingdom. We may never know. But in this war, they both destroyed themselves and or banished giant segments of themselves, especially the ones that were taken by the nightmares, away into different artifacts, different locations it would be too difficult to come back from, and or different dimensions, universes, galaxies, things like that. But they encountered eventually Starswirl the Bearded, and Starswirl notified them that part of their heritage, and he knew some Alicorn magics, which he was able to teach them. Some. Um, and take note that Alicorn magics, just base Alicorn magics, is considered different than unicorn magics. And he also let them know that because of the long livedness of Alicorns, that was the reason why when he encountered them, it took them a really long time to be able to find their cutie marks. And that was natural for alicorns to take a really long time to develop a cutie mark. And here's another interesting thing. Alicorns are considered an amalgamation of Earth Pony, Pegasus, and Unicorn. And by the showrunners, they say they're an embodiment of all the pony subspecies. To be exact, they say species, but I would call it subspecies. Problem is, though, then you're ignoring bat ponies, changelings. I know not everyone accepts that, but I mean, you can't ignore the bat ponies. The two different kinds of sea ponies, technically shadow ponies, unless they are flat out from a different dimension, which in that case it makes sense, it wouldn't count them, and various other kinds. But at the very least, bear with me, they're missing bat ponies. But and that's why they're also so powerful, being an amalgamation of a lot of different kind of ponies. Obviously, though, from what we're seeing, they shouldn't have branched off into different kinds. It's possible. It's possible through selective pairings. Maybe this did happen. Alicorns did eventually favor just flying capabilities, and eventually you have groups that became Pegasus. Some preferred magics only, became unicorns, eventually losing their super strength and green magic abilities. I mean, you still have access to green magic, but it feels like it comes natural to earth ponies, and then losing aspects of being a unicorn. Problem is, though, that they would have lost somehow, for some reason, themselves all the things that make that they would have lost their abilities to have access to alicorn magics, or at least the teachings. I From what I've seen, Starswirl actually was able to use some Alicorn magics that he had learned. So it's not impossible for Unicorn to do it, but it is distinctly different because, again, base Alicorn magic is listed as being different than base Unicorn magic. Um, but yeah, that's about it when it comes to that. Not very many known characters have ever encountered an alicorn. There are a couple of characters from the movie, the pirates specifically. They said that they themselves had encountered a very powerful alicorn that gifted them I think they're airship themselves. And on top of that, then you have a couple of characters that were turned into alicorns. And if you count the Pony of Shadows as an alicorn, there's not very many left. But there is one obscure one that a lot of people have missed. Celestia has a very young cousin named Leon, and he's the very one of the very, very, very few canical unicorn, no, sorry, alicorns. It is an alicorn and male and was born one himself. Um, we never get to see too much with him, though. The sky's the limit what went on with him, and I'm not even sure his parents were alicorns themselves, but they are related to Princess Celestia. So if it's possible through selective pairing, um, eventually down the road, a lot of the traits that made an alicorn were bred out. It's possible that's how this would happen. A couple unicorns, one of them being a relative of Celestia, have a child and it's an alicorn. That's kind of interesting. So there might be some legitimacy to this, but I also would not say that they are true amalgamations of all pony kinds because again, you're missing a bunch of ponies, including bat ponies. But here's some other parallels to other series that I think can help understand what is going on involving alicorns. I don't recommend using wikis very often, but this, for the most part, is a reliable wiki. The one wiki to rule them all. Rangers of the North. Few now remember them, yet still some go wandering, sons of forgotten kings, walking in loneliness, guarding from evil things folks that are heedless. Rangers of the North, simply known as the Rangers, were a northern wandering people of Arendor, the last remnant of the Dunedain of Aranor, who had once peopled the North Kingdom of Aranor. They protected the lands, wandering the wastes of Eredor, although their secretiveness made the people of Bree and the Shire consider them dangerous and distrustful. They were grim in appearance and were usually dressed in gray or dark green, with a cloak clasp shaped like a seven-pointed star. The term Rangers of the North was used most often by those who lived in the southern lands of Rohan and Gondor, perhaps to distinguish this people from their distant cousins, the Rangers of Ithilien. Like the Rangers of the North, they were also Dunedain, but belonged to the south kingdom of Gondor, and their ancestors had been divided from the northern Dunedain for some 3,000 years. Lonely men are we, rangers of the wild, hunters, but hunters ever of the servants of the enemy, for they are found in many places, not in Mordor only. That's from Aragorn, my favorite character from Lord of the Rings. The Dunedain of Aranor dwindled after the breaking of Aranor into three kingdoms in the wars with Engamar, Cardalon, and Rundor soon fell, and only the petty kingdom of Arthindinian maintained the royal line of Isildur. Athindarn, too, was destroyed in the Battle of Fornost and Aravdu. The last king of Athindir was lost at sea. Arindu's son and heir, Aranoth, claimed the title of chieftain of the Dunedain, 16 chieftains in total ruling the remnant of the Dunedain. For safekeeping, Erlond was given the heirlooms of House Isildur, the shards of Nasir, and Elendilmir, the scripture of Anasminus, the later the ring of Barthir, ransom from Losith. Each of Asinir's heirs, who like him could trace their descendants back to Isildur, would be secretly fostered in Rivendell. The remaining Dunedain became the Rangers, a secretive wandering and nomadic people around Isildur, far from Sauron's spies, little known or remembered, and their deeds seldom recorded. I don't think I need to say more. I think there's many, many parallels between Alicorns and the Northern Rangers of the Dunedain. What I didn't read about the Dunedain was they are technically the first humans, and they have incredibly long lifespans, like an alicorn. Actually, believe it or not, Aragon, besides the fact that he looks like an extremely, extremely well kept, super healthy, super fit 30, 40-year old, he's actually in his 80s. That is the nature of the Dunedain. And that's very similar to the Alicorns because I can't stress this enough. They have super long living capabilities, but it's only technically the Pony of Shadows, Princess Luna, and Princess Celestia that are immortal. Effectively immortal because Luna is constantly moving the moon, keeping her rejuvenated and constantly gaining more and more powerful. I mean, gaining more and more power. Same for Celestia, as long as she's constantly moving the sun. And in the case of Stygian, or the Pony of Shadows, I should say, it's absolute true darkness, like from the Well of Shadows, that keeps him rejuvenated. We haven't seen anything with him possibly dying of old age, so it's possible I'm wrong about him, but I have a feeling, because of the nature of him, that he is timelessly immortal. And that's why we get instances where once in a while they will run into an alicorn, a powerful alicorn, but there's no kingdoms, there's no society, it's just a singular alicorn by itself. And they very well be maybe doing the exact same things that the Duda 9 Rangers are doing. On patrol, timelessly, tirelessly, to make sure that the same dark things that destroyed their society doesn't happen again in the remaining world of pony kind, or not just pony kind, all the creatures. Honestly, I believe that this is an incomplete map because the world would be way too small if it was complete. So there's much, much more, in my opinion, to this world than what meets the eye. And I believe that the fragments of the Alicorn Kingdom, the primary Alicorn Kingdom, I think were further up north. Though you could speculate it could have been anywhere. Could have been at the equator, for all we know. But I guarantee there's very small remnants and magical artifacts still behind after what happened with the collapse of their kingdom and their kind. Trixie unfortunately found one of them, a dark artifact that I think may have been used by a creature similar to Nightmare Moon. And don't forget, in Ponytails, one of the main villains, in using an Alicorn artifact, became a creature very similar to Nightmare Moon. And this may be some of the things that they are both hunting for and or guarding to make sure that they don't happen again. Or even worse, some of them may be gathering these because these were the alicorns that believed in using dark and evil magics, and they are bidding their time, the perfect time, to come back and conquer the world. Whether they would be successful is unknown. It's one thing for ponies to fight other ponies. It would be another thing for a dark entity creature like something like Nightmare Moon to encroach into all the dragon kingdoms and try to conquer them as well. But to be honest with you, because she had nightmare magic, that would have been a heck of a lot easier than Daybreaker doing it. Believe it or not, um, I think Daybreaker is more balanced with her magical attacks because the way she conducts herself, it's as though she's preparing for an attack and a defensive maneuver at the same time. Well, Nightmare Moon, when she fought Daybreaker, she focused purely on either using a defensive spell or a really powerful offensive spell. And I think that's one of the reasons technically Daybreaker won. Whether she would have done a killing stroke remains to be seen, and it was a dream. But yeah, I think the Alicorns are still out there. They just don't have a society anymore. Or just maybe there is a society of Alicorns out there. Maybe they're watching and they're waiting to see what all the other creatures of the planet do before they come back to interact with them, to help them come with them into a new plane of existence. It's kind of crazy to think about that, but that's also a possibility. It's actually not just a possibility, but a pony theory. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about alicorns. If there's anything that you want to talk about, let me know down below. Peace be with you. Stay warm because it's extra cold out everywhere. And God bless you. Have a good night.